Welcome to Life in Business, the podcast for business owners who want the confidence to grow without having to hustle 24/7. I'm Libby Langley, your host, award-winning no BS business coach and Amazon best-selling author. Join me each week to learn simple and practical strategies for growing your business, growing your profits, growing your confidence, and for having fun in business too. Here's this week's episode. Hello, welcome to episode 101 of Life in Business, the podcast with me, Libby Langley, your host. 101. Honestly, it makes me feel old. But what else could I do for this episode other than a room 101? And I think there are a lot of business things that we could and we should put into room 101. So I think this one's going to be quite fun. I've written I always write some notes before I record my podcasts, and I've just jotted down a few things here, and I had to stop myself because the list was getting longer and longer and longer. So yeah, buckle up, because there's a lot of things about business that should go into room 101. And if you're not familiar with the concept of room 101, it was a TV program that started in the 90s, I think. Oh God, don't say that. Maybe only 5 years ago. No, ages ago. And it was famous people, things that annoy them, right? You put them into room 101 and they no longer exist. And it's a great concept, really. You can kind of just shut things away and that's the end of them. So here we go. First one that's going into room 101. These are all business things, right? 5 a.m. starts. As you know, I do not believe that 5 a.m. starts have any reflection on your success or failure as a business person, right? You get up at whatever time suits you. That's the end of it. We all have different circadian rhythms, how we sleep, when we sleep. We all have different energy levels, and we all have different lives, right? And nobody can dictate to you what time of day is best for you to get out of bed, let alone start working, right? So 5 a.m. starts, absolutely the first thing that's going in there. If you want to do it, fine. But this morning, my husband, he got up at about 5:15 because he had to go off, drive for a couple of hours before for his work. And I went back to sleep. So there you go. That's my approach to that. Because honestly, if I got up at 5 a.m., I'd be done by midday. So yeah. So 5 a.m. first thing to go in there. Second thing, proven strategies and formulas. You will see a lot of this on social media, particularly Instagram, I think, really. LinkedIn's got quite a lot of it, but Instagram's the hotbed for proven strategies and formulas. Doesn't work, right? There is no such thing as a proven strategy and formula that works across the board. There are guidelines on how to approach a business, how to run a business. And certainly, that's what I help my clients with. In Confidence to Grow, there's a kind of process that we work through, but it's about understanding yourself and how yourself influences your business and what you want in your business personally, rather than follow my 5-step proven formula. Because how can that work across the board? Like, how can there be a formula that works for someone who has just started their business with no experience and no clients, and someone who has been in business for a decade and has tons of experience, right? There isn't. They're completely different starting points. So there cannot be a one-size-fits-all across the board formula or a proven strategy, right? It's really the wording. It's the wording of it, and the people who who flog this stuff, right? That's what's going in room 101 there. There is a lot of snake oil stuff, out there. And, if you just pay $27 and just get this download, then, that's going to be the thing that's missing. No, absolutely not. Not saying you can't learn stuff, right? There's tons of lower price courses that can be helpful and useful that you can learn a specific skill from. But if you're looking at things like this, proven strategies and formulas to fix something in your business, no. The thing that needs fixing is going back to the beginning and looking at your foundations and understanding yourself in your business, which is the bit that I help with, right? And we are not all the same. So we do not all work and think in the same way. Okay. Number 3, copy and paste templates. Pretty much the same really as the proven strategies and formulas. Can be incredibly useful, right? If there's a kind of, like for sales pages or something, if there's a structure that can be useful for you to learn, or the rules of how people look at visuals, so which bit you put in big letters and which bit you put in smaller letters, that kind of those rules, if you like, guidelines are incredibly useful, right? So in terms of a template, that could be helpful. But copy and paste social media templates, just tweak a few words and it's like, no, because that's not how you write as yourself. It's I think the day is done of that, because there's too much of it, and also getting ChatGPT to write everything for you. I'm a massive fan of ChatGPT, right? Almost daily will I have various discussions about various things, but just using the basic free version to write social media content for you, it's always going to be dreadful, right? It doesn't really work like that. So there you go, copy and paste templates. Into room 101 you go. Next up, 10K months. 10K months. Oh my God, the unicorn. The holy grail of anyone who's in business. Oh, my giddy aunt. Right. No. It's just a number, right? It's just an arbitrary number. And you'll see people saying, that 10K months is the goal and I'll help you get to 10K months. And it's like, what do you mean? What do you mean by that? Is that turnover? Is that profit? Is that sales? Is that money that will come in on subscriptions over the course of a year? What do you mean by it? And why? Why 10K? Why? How is that gonna make my life different to your life, because if you haven't got a mortgage, say, then 10K or your outgoings are really small, then 10K is wildly different to if you have a huge mortgage and multiple expensive children. It's all relative, right? So this kind of number that gets bandied about is pretty pointless, because everybody should set their own individual goals and targets. And with my clients, with my Confidence to Grow gang, my members there, I don't care if your objective is £1,500 a month, right? Profit. Doesn't matter. The work and effort and energy to get to that is largely the same as to get to £100,000, right? Everything takes time, energy, and effort. But the beauty of £1,500 a month is that it's been calculated, yeah? And that that's what's going to make a difference to life. So why not stop at what's going to make a difference to life and make a happy life and work far fewer hours than just busting a gut and doubling down and hustling to 10K because that's what somebody told you should do? It makes no sense, right? 10K months going in the bin. Absolutely. They are in room 101. And unless you have absolutely reverse engineered that to be your number, I'm not having it, right? Not having it. And so that brings me on to the next point, which is top turnover versus profit. You will see a lot of people sharing my 92K launch. Okay, nice, lovely numbers. But what does that mean? Did you spend to get 92K? did you spend 80K on Facebook ads and a VA and outsourcing and software? And in which case, was that not a 12K launch? I really don't like... I think numbers are massively important, right? We need to understand the numbers in our business. Absolutely. They are critical. Numbers are critical, right? And we in Confidence to Grow, we talk a lot about an assortment of numbers. But everybody's numbers that matter to them are different numbers, yeah? And different things that they measure. But I don't see that, unless you're sharing the numbers behind your, and it's generally speaking launches, right? Unless you're sharing all the kind of detailed numbers behind your launch, which some people do, absolutely, with integrity, and that's very, very helpful to see. Just saying, I had a 50K launch, I had a 100K launch, or whatever. It's like, so what? Good for you. I don't care. How is that going to help me in my business? It doesn't. It just doesn't mean anything. But when someone says, okay, it was a 50K, 100K launch, and it cost me, I spent this much on this to achieve that, and this much on this to achieve that, then that can be really helpful, because seeing other people's businesses and how it's broken down and what the actual costs are, I think is hugely valuable. So I share my average profit margin, and it does vary. It depends on how much I've kind of spent on stuff. But on average, it's about 75% of my turnover is profit. My costs are relatively low in my business, and that's kind of something. Oh, right, okay. So if somebody has a similar kind of business setup to me, then that is a broad benchmark that might be helpful, right? But it's up to you. It's up to you to understand these numbers and to know these numbers. So yeah, take all these big. I've done 250K in the first quarter of this year. That's nice. That's really nice for you. But why should I give you money? Just so you can make more money? No, I mean, it's not, who cares? It's so soulless, right? And that's what I don't like about it. It's so look at my Lambo, but, actually you've just leased it or borrowed it from the garage for the day for a photo shoot. Ugh, no, not for me. It's got to have soul. It's got to have meaning. Which brings me on to vanity metrics. So vanity metrics, they are like the number of people who viewed a video. They can go into room 101. Number of people who viewed a video, number of followers you've got to a certain extent, number of people on an email list. These all matter to a certain extent, right? They're useful to kind of keep an eye on, because you can see whether there's an upward trend or a downward trend. And if there's an upward trend, great, you're probably doing stuff right. If there's a downward trend, maybe you need to find a new audience or tweak your content slightly or something, right? But nothing matters. These numbers don't matter at all if nothing is converting. So if you go viral and get 12 million views on a video and you don't get one single extra follower from that, or one single extra email sign up, or one single person booking a call, or one single client, it doesn't mean anything. It's just a vanity metric, right? So the things that really, really matter and the things that are really worth tracking is how these numbers all relate to your bottom line. Yeah. How does all this stuff bring money in at the end of the day? And if it doesn't, okay, well, nice. You've got a nice shiny profile out there, but doesn't mean you're making any money, right? Better to have terrible vanity metrics and make more profit than have super shiny vanity metrics and make no money. Yes? The whole fur coat, no knickers thing, right? We would rather just be in our knickers and that's it. So vanity metrics, they are going in room 101. Ooh, now TikTok. I'm just putting TikTok in room 101. I hate it. Oh, man. I don't know. I'm too old, maybe. I don't know. There's something for me. So I went on TikTok a bit, as lots of people did during the first lockdown, 2020. And then my husband and I did an assortment of kind of dances and all that stuff, just because we had a lot of time like everybody else. And that was fine and that was fun then. But I have a business account, but I've only shared like snippet videos that actually my VA has uploaded. I've never done it myself. And it's not really done anything. And the reason it's not really done anything is because I've never been there and I've never been active, right? Just sharing content alone is not enough on any social media platform. We all know that. But I don't like all the videos. I'm just going to say it. I don't like constant videos. I like to read stuff. I like to give my eyes a rest from the colour and the movement and all of that. It's a real kind of overstimulation. And I mean, if I want to watch videos like that, I can watch them on Facebook or Instagram, where I already have an audience. So I'd be engaging with people who we're connected, right? We have something in common. They may or may not listen to this podcast or become clients eventually and all of that, right? I don't have the time, energy or effort. Well, I do have the time. I do not have the energy and can't be bothered to make the effort to grow a whole new channel. And I just don't like TikTok. There's loads of stuff about it I don't like. There's loads of data stuff about it I don't like as well. But just from a simple usage point of view, TikTok for me is going in. And the reason that I say that is because it's okay to just not like a certain social media platform and therefore not use it. All right, that's okay. You get to make all the decisions in your business. You just absolutely are in control of these things. Just because something exists doesn't mean you have to use it. And for me, video I have a real kind of love-hate relationship with video because it's enormously important. And I've run loads of workshops over the years on how to be more confident on camera. Gosh, I even had a short course that you could buy called Camera Confidence a few years ago, which quite a lot of people bought. So, it's something that I have done a lot with video, but I just am happier not doing it. And it's quite a weird, it's a weird kind of dichotomy, that, isn't it? You understand the importance of it for marketing and in kind of the way these platforms work. But if it doesn't sit right or it takes too much mental energy, you've got to make a call. And I think there's a real bravery in that, actually, to when you decide that you're doing something because absolutely it's just the best thing for you. Yeah, that's really good. That's real confidence, that is. And, this is the kind of stuff that we talk about in my Confidence to Grow program all the time. It's like, do what works for you. So TikTok, adios. You are going, my friend, into room 101 for me. Goodbye. Now, on that point, really, the next thing I want to put in is the shoulds, right? And it really leads on from what I was just saying about TikTok and video and stuff there. You should do this. You should do that. I'm doing this because I should. No. I mean, there's two sides to that, right? There's, you should just get your head down and get the bloody stuff done off your to-do list, right? Yes, that is true. Procrastination should probably go in here too. Everyone I want to, but the shoulds, I should be on TikTok. I should do videos of this podcast and put them on YouTube because that will increase awareness. Yes. I mean, and I did for 6 months, but I didn't like it as much. So I stopped doing it. And the should of, you should dress a certain way. You should be suited and booted, you should wear heels. You shouldn't wear jeans with holes in them. Maybe that's just my mother telling me. Can't afford a pair that's not ripped. Anyway, and so the shoulds are really difficult. I think that they're something, as women particularly, there's a lot of pressure to conform, right? And genuinely being yourself is quite hard. And I know for me, over the last 4 years or so, I've really worked hard on being myself. And particularly when 18 months ago or so, I got diagnosed as autistic ADHD. That was really helpful for me because I was able to see a little bit more, where I had been pretending to be someone else, masking, it's called in the neurodivergent world, but kind of having, like almost playing a game or putting a front on. Yeah. And I know there are times when you need to kind of channel your absolute inner, middle-aged white man confidence, right? You know what I mean when I say that. But actually, that's not how to live, and that's not how to live in your business all the time, because that's a dangerous kind of pretend and shouldness that we don't want to go down. So being yourself, taking a deep breath and just actually kind of saying what you think and doing what you want is so utterly liberating. And it is just, it's the core basis for the work that I do with my clients. And everybody's journey is very slightly different. There's an order to things, of working things out and which onion layers to peel back first and all of that. But everybody is different. And what I love about my clients and you guys, my audience as a whole, right, is how different and how diverse everybody is, but the common themes, the common threads that kind of run through. And this is why should doesn't work, and pretending to be someone else doesn't work, and proven strategies and formulas don't work, and copy and paste templates don't work, and dictating what time you get up in the morning doesn't work, and you must do 10K a month doesn't work, because we are all so different, and that is just so glorious. So yeah, it's all about personalization. It's always about all about being you, and there's nothing that you should do apart from, the thing that you should do is stop doing all the things, right, that you don't want to do and that aren't really you. That's the only thing that you should do, because that one's really important. So I probably should have ended on that one, really, because that's a nice one. But I was just going to add in a bit about procrastination as well. Yeah, I mean, it's a good one, isn't it? I'm great at procrastinating. I'm very good at saying, right, in a very purposeful manner, and then not actually achieving anything. But I suppose I acknowledge it. And I guess to a certain extent, the way I've set up my business and allows for that, right? I think part of it comes from the neurodivergent brain and, oh my God, the thought holes that can go down in a day. There are 450,000 of them, right? But the thing about procrastination is that it can go in room 101. And the way to do that is to write down what you need to do, either on a bit of paper or in your calendar or something, and then do those things, right? Just get the bloody things done that need to be done. Then you can procrastinate as much as you like. It's a previous episode of this podcast. It's worth maybe you going back and have a look for that, about daily non-negotiables, right? And I've just done a coaching exercise with my Confidence to Grow clients about this, about setting their daily non-negotiables. If you have things that need to be done that will move your business forward to where you want to go, if you do them every day or every week, whenever they need to happen, if you categorically, this is absolutely not negotiable, if that stuff gets done, well, then procrastination, you can do what you like. Yeah, it just is about the way that you kind of approach this stuff yourself, and it requires a bit of a mindset shift, really, because it's kind of procrastination's a funny thing, right? If it's because you don't want to do something or something's too difficult, then that's when you reach out for support, right? That's why we have a WhatsApp group in Confidence to Grow, because if it's like, oh, I really need to do this and I've been putting it off for ages. Right, we'll give you a little pep talk. I'll give you a little pep talk. Other people will give you a little pep talk. And that spurs you on to get it done a bit more. That's one kind of procrastination, right? Almost like a fear procrastination kind of thing. Then there's this is a really big job, okay? So break it down into smaller jobs. They'll be easier to do, right? Break it down into little actions or little tasks that'll be easier to do. And then there's the can't be bothered today. Okay, if it's not urgent, do it tomorrow. Sometimes there are off days. And again, I've done a previous podcast episode on this a few weeks ago, relatively recently. When an off day is it an off day or is it like something's wrong? If you have an off day, fine. Just give yourself the kindness to have the off day, and then tomorrow you'll feel better and you'll get stuff done. But it's about kind of determining what kind of procrastination you have and you are doing. I mean, I was supposed to record this podcast 2.5 hours ago, and I didn't because I found lots of other little things to do. And I don't know why. It's just one of those days. But it's in my diary, so I knew it was going to happen today. And just accepting that sometimes your brain, isn't necessarily quite as structured as you'd really like it to be, then that's okay too. As long as the stuff gets done, and as long as you write it down and you cross it off when you've done it, or you delete it out of your calendar when you've done it, then you're effectively kicking procrastination into room 101 and slamming the door behind it. Yeah, so that's a good one. I would like to know what you would add to this, what you personally would like to stick in room 101. So my list that I've managed to keep it down to was 5 a.m. starts, proven strategies and formulas, copy and paste templates, 10K months, boo, turnover, not profit, vanity metrics, the should do's and being someone else, TikTok, and procrastination. So what would you add to that list? Please do message me. I'm at Libby Langley on Instagram, and you can find me on LinkedIn, Libby Langley too. Or create a post out of it. If this has inspired you to create a post, please tag me in that post. I would love to know what you would add to what business things you would add to room 101, because I think it's quite cathartic sometimes to get this stuff out there. And also the self-realization of, what the bloody hell am I doing this for when I don't need to be doing this, right? Stick it in room 101 and there it is, gone forever. And you will be lighter and more productive and ultimately like working less and earning more. And that's what we want. So good episode today. Lots of fun. Yeah. And if you ever want my help with any of this stuff, then, you can always come join us in Confidence to Grow. Just drop me a message and we can have a chat about that. So lots of love today, and I will see you next week. Bye. Thank you for listening to Life in Business. Please make sure that you subscribe or follow so you don't miss any future episodes. And if you enjoyed today's show, please leave a review, as it helps others to find the podcast and spread the word that there's an easier way to do business. If you want to chat with me about today's episode or suggest a topic for the future, I would love to hear from you. You can find me on Instagram at Libby Langley. See you next week.